Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on and chatting to us about this amazing new
You're
album.
welcome.
Uh,
Thanks a lot.
It is wonderful. I've been listening to it the last couple of days, and it's something that you should really be pretty proud of. I can't believe
I
that
am.
it's yeah, yeah. I'm sure you are. I can't believe it's your ninth studio album.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. That's an understatement.
Yeah, yeah, I would do. I mean, and it's a again, it's another quite a complex um, moment in time. It's a really sort of interesting piece of musical collection.
Yeah, that's also we really put a lot of effort into the flow of the album.
Mm.
So I really hope people listen, take the time to listen from the beginning till the end.
I hope so as well. That's how I like to look at it. I think the album should be listened to beginning from end because you put work into it, into all those agonizing hours of where each song goes, how it should
Yeah,
fit.
yeah. But yeah, and you know how that goes nowadays. Many people listen just one song there, and then they have their own playlist. But I really hope that as many people as possible take the time to listen from the beginning till the end, just like you do.
Yeah, I look absolutely, and I think that fans will do that. I mean, your fans of your albums will do that.
Fans
Yeah.
will, but yeah, people are just a little bit interested. They maybe pick songs.
But the one good thing about that album, like you said, yes, you can. I mean, I like to listen to an album from beginning to end. I enjoy sitting there and being and spending time with it. But there are moments in this album where you can pull like the singles that have come out of
Yeah,
it that do
yeah.
sit alone quite well, which is a hard thing to do these days.
Yeah, and that's I see it as a bit of a necessary evil. Yeah, you have to already release songs up front, which is never representing the album as a whole. But you have to pick the songs that you think works best for the purpose, and that's how I see it. So it's good to have some videos, and it's good to have these songs. But preferably as an artist, you would have the whole album out at once, and that people hear the whole thing for the first time as a whole. But yeah, that's not the way it works.
I must admit, I'm the opposite to that. I don't listen to singles. I try and stay away from anything, particularly favorite artists that I like bands like yourself.
Yeah,
I try not to. Sometimes you can't help it, but I try to sort
yeah,
of just
yeah.
go and let it come to me in the one hit. Um,
Yes.
because singles often, if you've listened to it many, many times, you sort of not find yourself skipping that song, but you go, come on, I've listened to it now. I want to hear the new stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, if you heard it so many times, yeah, you want to hear indeed. You skipped it, and then you already have not that experience from listening to beginning till the end. So
Yeah.
you never have the perfect solution
No,
anyway.
no.
But but it is the way it is, and I also listen to singles myself when an album before an album comes out because I'm too curious often what
Uh,
a band has come up with. But yeah, it takes a little bit the something of the experience away. But yeah,
yeah,
I don't
self-discipline.
want
You need
to.
so it's hard to have self-discipline when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
But the new single off of it, Time, which is an acronym, right? I wrote it
Yes.
down, but um, transformation,
Transformation,
in,
integration,
in
metamorphosis,
metamorphosis, and evolution.
evolution. Yeah.
Yeah, what a fantastic title.
Yeah. I came
Wow.
along and I thought that's really a perfect fit for the song that fits the story behind the song. And it's dealing about dying, but not literally just dying, the art of dying, but the death of the ego. And that's what's fascinated me so much because yeah, nowadays we as humanity we are we identified so much with our ego that it becomes like that's who we are, but in fact that's not who we are. It's just part of our avatar that we have being here on earth. But if you strip off all that stuff, what's left is your true essence, and that's I believe who we truly are.
Do you know that's a wonderful that is a wonderful thing because I didn't think about that in the lyric.
Yeah,
because I haven't a chance to read the lyrics. What I like to do when it comes out, I will read the lyric. I'll listen
yeah,
to the
yeah.
album and then deeply dive into the lyric, and that's a fantastic because it's true. There's so many phases of humanity, and that is one of them. Our ego and our outer shell, and that's what makes your music so good. Like your band so good is
Ah, thank
it's
you.
yeah.
But this is a
Um,
pretty short song, so lyric wise, I couldn't put all the information that actually the song is dealing about in the actual lyric. But that's why for this song, when can give a little bit of an explanation, a bit of context, that really helps for this one.
Brilliant, yes. I mean, because as I said, your songs are known for having, interesting topics, interesting concepts. With the two voices, of course, the beautiful, beautiful singing, and then your sort of fantastic sort of
My
growling
ugly.
vocal. No, no, no.
That's opposite.
Bitter and sweet, light and dark. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's milk and coffee, right? It's what it is, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. It's
Um,
good to have these two contrasts. Give us also a lot of options in the music.
I think so, and I think that's a wonderful thing about bands like yourself and yourself in particular, is that you can play with light and shade. You
Yeah,
can be
indeed.
beautiful and ethereal, but you can also be dark and
Yes,
depth and full of depth. And
yes,
that's a
exactly. Yeah.
dimension a lot of bands don't have.
Yeah, and we fully use make use of it because yeah, sometimes the music is get this dark extreme edge, and then putting even some scream and grunts on top that finishes it. That feels like yeah, that even pushes it right to the edge, and that's what we're looking for. We always look for the extremes as well. So we love beauty in the music, but sometimes it has to go full force, heavy.
Yeah, I agree because I mean it's very difficult to box your sound up
Yeah,
and genreize it, if that's a real word. I mean, you have death metal,
yeah,
you have prog metal, you have folk, you have
yeah.
experimental power. Everything is in there,
Yeah, yeah,
and
literally
nothing.
everything.
Yeah, nothing is off the table. And I think that's
Yeah.
this new album particularly, Mark. This new album, it rolls in all
Yeah.
different directions. I didn't know where I was for half of the time. It was fantastic in that
Yeah,
respect.
that's also what our producer always says. He said, "You guys created yourself the freedom to do whatever you want and to use every sound you like." Because many bands they are a little bit restricted if they have a style and they cannot go too much outside of that style without facing criticism. Our fans they are used to that we are doing different things and we combine different styles, and that's also why our fans are open-minded and even need to be a bit open-minded because otherwise, yeah, they wouldn't take it so well, I think.
No, yeah, and you know what? That's true because I'm sure there's a lot of bands out there who would love to be, sow the seed of what you're doing and reap that harvest. But it's very
Yeah,
difficult for them because I'm sure that deep down as artists like yourself, you're so lucky as an artist, you can go, hey, we're going to put some strings here, or we're going to put this here, or we're going to
yeah,
do this, and we don't care because we're creating
yeah.
art that we want to listen to.
Exactly. That's also what one album is finished, and I really love to listen to it myself. Then I know we succeeded. And this with this album as well, I many times that I just was in the car and I thought, hey, I listened to the new album because after every time, like after like 2 weeks, I'm again curious how does it sound again?
Well, that's exactly right, because this is what I do. I listen to an album through quickly while doing stuff, on the move, and then I'll come back to it in a space where I have lots of calm,
Yeah,
no interactions, usually in the dark, and I let the music
yeah.
then layer onto me, and then you hear something
Yeah.
different. Then when you go back into the light, it follows you, right?
Definitely, definitely. You hear different stuff. I also, when I lay in bed, sometimes I put my earpods in. That's also why the music has to sound also good on just only earpods because that's how many people listen nowadays music. And that's also why we, with the mix, we always make sure that we also listen with earpods that to be sure that it sounds good as well. And then yeah, when it's dark, you have a completely different vibe and you
Yeah.
hear different things. It's so fascinating how yeah when you listen in the light that you have different energies going on and hear different things than when you listen in the dark.
Yep, I've always
It's
done
funny
it.
that you mention it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've always done it as part of my thing since I was a young man. Like, just have the two because I get distracted, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
distraction when you get into beautiful music like yours, and the album is beautiful, heavily beautiful, of course, but it's beautiful, and it has layers in it, and there are bits and
yeah,
pieces like in all the different tracks, particularly, the opening track. Um,
yeah.
Her voice is just wonderful in that. Simone's
Wow.
voice is just wonderful in the whole album, of course, but the
Yeah.
first track really is a cracker of an opener.
Cross the divide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant opening
Cool.
track.
Yeah,
Like, what a
yeah.
way to bring you into the album.
Yeah, and that's also what we thought. We were like that song was hard to make it fit somewhere else on the album. So, and we usually always start with an intro, and then our drummer Ari said, "Why don't we just kick off with this song this time right away?" Because yeah, we were anyway in the mood of doing some things different than we used to do. We said, "Yeah, yeah, let's do that." And of course, that we ask a lot we from our diehard fans who used to do certain things that they know for sure that we do, like always starting with an intro. But yeah, that's us as well. We don't want to do always what people expect us to do. Sometimes we just do it different.
Yeah, and that is one, but that isn't that the beautiful bit of art? I mean, art is that way.
Yeah,
If you painted the same painting every time, how boring would it be if you wrote the same
yeah,
book
we
every
would get
time?
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
when you're bored, the art is bland.
Yeah, and then people eventually will get bored as well. That's
Yep.
uninvitable. And when
Yep.
you keep refreshing yourself and do refreshing things and put sometimes some cold water in your own face and in the face of your fans, that's I think the way to keep it interesting.
Yeah, and I think live, this is going to be a brilliant album. I know you're going to be touring with it extensively coming
Yeah,
up, and I think this will be a great live album. There's some real bangers
I think so too.
to come out
Because
live on this album.
everything that's also was the thing we recorded everything in a kind of live setting in the studio. The big advantages of that is that it sounds more organic than
Hmm.
if you all record separately.
Hmm.
But also, we know for sure that all these songs work well live because we already played them in a live way. So there's each and every one of the song on this album can be played live and will work that we know already. Whereas in the past, sometimes we had albums like Requiem for the Indifferent, and then you had to find out afterwards which songs would actually work live and which ones not. Now we know for sure every song will work live that we play from this album.
And it comes across in the sound that you recorded it live. The Beatles did all their stuff live. You hear it. You can hear
Yeah,
the difference between
yeah,
a phoned-in album, not you know what I mean, like everywhere else, and
yeah,
in the room together because the human harmony. And you a lot. I know
yeah,
your music is about harmonies. You
yeah.
know,
And that's why
it's
we went back in time and looked what was the strengths of bands from the past, and you should also make use of the good things of the now. But what about using the strength from the past and the strength of the now and combine them? And that's what
mm,
we tried. Because if you record everything separately, in a way it becomes sometimes a little bit too perfect. And when it becomes too perfect and it doesn't sound as much organic as much together as it can be. And that's why we went one step back and recorded again like bands often used to record in the past and combined it with the technologies of today. And then I think you have the winning team, the winning formula.
I think you do. I think this is one of your best albums for a long time because of that feeling. The
Yeah,
I put it on
I
again this
agree.
afternoon, and I had this. I was just doing stuff around the house, and I was completely distracted by it. I couldn't. I had to. It distracted me, which is a
Yeah,
wonderful thing because it
cool.
doesn't sound. There's sometimes sounds can be really clean and wonderful and polished.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
lovely, but there's a point
yeah.
where, like you said, it has the organic togetherness is much more enjoyable.
Yeah,
The
and yeah,
humanity of it.
yeah, exactly. And that's the human touch that should never get out of the music because then, yeah, like I said, when it gets too perfect, almost machine-like perfect, that human soul is getting out of the music, and that's something that always has to stay center point. The human soul, that is what the music is. That cannot be left out. That so even though the technologies get so well and you can record things so perfectly, you lose it all
Yeah, it
if you go too
sanitizes.
far with that. If
Yeah,
you go too far, because I'm
yeah.
not a guy that says everything, all technology is bad.
No, no,
Far
no.
from that. But you have to use it wisely.
Yes, because it sanitizes. It doesn't have a soul, technology, does it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just numbers. It's just zeros
yeah,
and ones.
exactly.
At the end of the day, you're controlling the technology, yes, but when it's a human touch, it's a slight,
Yeah,
there's a more ethereal, ancient energy that comes through, which is what comes through in
exactly.
your music because it's quite ancient, European. You have your European roots that flow through your
Maybe
music.
it has something to do with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
We have
think it
a
is.
rich history. Yeah,
Yeah, very much so. And I think that you
yeah,
you play on that. You bring that into your music.
yeah.
It's
Somehow.
oh, yeah. I mean, it's in your soul. It's in your
Yeah,
soul. It's in all your
definitely.
souls because you are of the soil of that land, right? That's where you're from.
Yeah.
It's you're that's it, right? And
And that's also the good thing about Europe. Yeah, I feel more like European because in the past, yeah, everybody had their own country. Now it's more like a unity.
yes,
And I used to live in Netherlands. I'm born in Netherlands now. I live already for 10 years in Italy, and it's more I feel like European, not really literally Italian, Dutch, or whatever. I like to be in the whole Europe. I like to travel, and I like also that I can say, yeah, all these beautiful things from Europe. It's yeah, like where I come from.
yeah,
It's not just from the French or just from the Italians. It
no,
feels also a bit mine.
yeah, exactly right. Because let's be honest, the boundaries of Europe are ancient. They move around everywhere for fluid
Yeah,
for
indeed.
thousands of years. So then a
Exactly.
bit of your DNA is everything is in there, and I think that you're
I
very
think so
lucky
too. Yeah.
because the European sound is something really special and very different to anything else. I think,
Yeah, I
particularly
noticed
in
that
the
too.
symphonic sound, is very European.
Yeah,
Uh,
because American bands they have a different sound in general than the European bands. You can hear that right away, indeed.
yeah, there's more of an edge. There's a sharper edge to the American sound, whereas your sound has a softness. Even though again it's heavy,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
there's an operaticness to
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Nice
A
way to
sense of
describe.
a sense of play and a sense of I don't know, I don't think of the word, but it's sort of like fun in it.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely should be fun. When the
Hmm.
fun is gone, I always say then I'm out of here. The music has to have that playful element.
Yeah, and audiences love it. And I've been to one of your shows, and it's an experience. Like this, it's an experience
Yeah,
visually, sonically, and emotionally.
yeah.
It is an experience, and I don't think anyone who's ever going to see you live would ever say different. I think they'd have to be dead from the waist, from the head down.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
they
but
said
that's
that.
also when we play live, we also want to have fun. That's why we play music, and that when we're finally on stage after all these travels to get to the stage, then we want to have fun because
Yeah,
that's why we're there.
yeah, and the audience take it, you feel it. Like, and again, so this album, 11
Yeah,
tracks. It doesn't. It's all killer, no filler. It's a banging opener, and I love
yeah,
the mix of it. I particularly love the closing track as well, as we talked about.
yeah.
But time,
That's also why you have to listen from beginning till the end
you
because the
have to,
closing track there, yeah.
you do, because that is a icing on the cake.
Thanks.
And no, it's true. I mean it genuinely. It's a work of art, and I think that modern music needs more of you now. More and more bands like yourself, more and more people with the concepts of being free within the realms of their artistic capabilities.
But that's what you get when you follow your own intuition and heart. But when bands too much listen to their managers or their record labels who, tell them you have to do this or that, killing.
Yeah,
That's on the long term that's not going to work for them. Maybe in the short term with some success, but that will not bring them happiness on the long term. So I always say, follow your heart and do exactly what you feel like. Make the music you feel like, because then after 25 years, you still enjoy doing it. Otherwise, you cannot keep on going.
that's right. And also, if you and touch wood that you're going another 30 years after this, for instance, you want to be able to look back at the catalogue there and go, look how we grew. Look how we
Yeah,
changed.
yeah, yeah,
Look at the growth of our art and our music and our direction.
yeah.
And I think that's something that, as you said, if you're told by a record company to keep making, you know, AC/DC songs over and over and over and over and over again, not I haven't got AC/DC, but you know what I mean, go over and over and over
Yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
you just, what are you doing?
I
Like,
wouldn't work for me at least, and for us as a band,
no, it'd kill
that
it.
would not work.
No,
Yeah,
no.
then we
And
would be
that's,
already doing something else by now, I think.
yeah. And again, that's it, you see. So every day's different for you, and every day is different for people that listen to your albums because every time you listen to the album,
Yeah.
you hear something different. And I think that's the beauty of it, particularly this latest album, which really
And I
does it.
think also the Alchemy project did help us a lot in because then we were exploring different angles, different
Hmm.
directions because we were working with musicians outside of our band, and that we learned a lot by doing that project, and we gave ourselves a lot of freedom with that because anything what would be written doesn't matter. We put it on the album, on the Alchemy project, and that was also really refreshing. So there were no boundaries whatsoever. And because of that, we also gave ourselves even some more freedom on a spiral. Because everything what you do as a consequence for what you do later. So we're now even thinking about maybe an alchemy project too in the future, because that
Wow.
can again give some inspiration for the album number 10. So
Why not?
everything is connected. Yeah,
Yeah, why not? I'm an art, so into art college. You know, you'd get a sketchbook out, you'd do sketching. You look back at a sketchbook, get inspiration, you do your thing, right? This
exactly.
is
Yeah,
the same thing as what you're saying with the Alchemy Project. It gave you time to go, hey, oh, let's do this. Wow, what I never thought
yeah,
about playing this particular. This is great. Why aren't we doing this
yeah.
now? Let's
Because
throw
all
it
these
in the
songs, they
in.
would have not existed at all if we hadn't worked with these other musicians. They had as much of an influence on these songs as we had ourselves. So there was unique music written that would have never had existed otherwise.
Oh, man, that's wonderful, Mark. What a lovely. I mean, I'm so inspired by people like yourself. Honest, genuinely inspiring. Like you come
Yeah,
away and you go, I should be doing this. I don't have a tenth of your talent, of course, but it's like I would. God, it's
I
so
don't know
good.
about that. Maybe you do.
No, no, you know what I mean. Leave the magic to the magicians. That's what I say, right?
But everybody has a magician in him.
That is
It
true. That
depends
you're very true.
depends what if you let it out first of all, and what your qualities are. But
Very
everybody,
true.
I truly believe that everybody has that in him. Just just wake him up. Sometimes
Well,
with some
that's
people, I would say,
yeah, you're true. I mean, I said when I was at art college, a lot of people say, "No, I can't draw." And you go, "Get a piece of paper and a pencil. You can have a go."
yeah,
It's the same with music. I'm sure it's exactly the same. It's what punk did for us. It's what it's what modern music is about. And albums like yours, there's sort of progressiveness that isn't pompous. You know, there's a pompousness to some progressive metal that
yeah,
it's where it's like, look, I can play a 12 string bass. You know, whereas
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Whereas
I know what you
yours,
mean. Yeah,
yeah, whereas yours, which I love it, park aside there, but you've progressive without being unable to understand it.
yeah.
It's
Because
very, yeah,
I agree when you there are bands who are extremely skilled and manage to still use it in the right way. That I love it. But when there's bands just showing off and the songs don't make sense anymore, then I think they went too far.
yes,
That happens as well.
yeah.
But I love it when bands are really skilled and they turn it into great music. Dream Theater is for me one of those examples
Oh,
that
yes, yes.
they are so skilled and one of the best musicians in the metal on the planet. But still, these many of their albums they're so well crafted
There's a
and
musicality
catchy
to
at the
it.
same time.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, yeah,
musicality to it. It hasn't lost the bluesy soul of musicality. It hasn't gone completely numbers, ones and zeros
exactly,
again, right?
exactly.
And I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
what, again, listeners, people watching this video, this is an album for that, for you, for that kind of thing, because I think every track you'll find something different, and you should be so proud of it. All of you guys
yeah.
should be
We
proud of
are
it.
very proud of it, and we cannot wait to for the 11th of April that it finally sees the day of light. So the
Yeah,
light
you
of
should
day, I mean.
give birth to it into the world and
Yes.
let it grow. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Because then finally it's released, and then that's the magic the most magic moment when finally it's out there.
It must be a wonderful day, that first day of release for
Yeah,
you guys. I don't
yeah.
imagine I'd be sleeping much.
Nowadays I do sleep still very well, but I used to keep me awake, such things, yet, and I would get so nervous about it. But nowadays I let it happen, and there's not much that keeps me awake at night anymore. But I
Wonderful.
had to learn that. I had to
Yes,
learn it
well,
because I'm a thinker.
yeah, but you're also a creative. And
Yeah,
when you create, you worry it's a painful process. You don't want people to think, I haven't made the effort, or haven't done
yeah,
this, or haven't done that. It's understandable, completely understandable.
yeah.
But anyway, wonderful. 11th of April, universal release. And then, of course, you'll be touring
Yes,
all over the world with it.
yes.
You'll be relentless, as always. Big festivals,
Absolutely.
big everything.
Some festivals,
Yeah.
some club tours, some shows with friends of ours like Powerwolf.
Oh, great.
So there's everything something.
Oh,
Long
yeah.
sets, shorter sets.
You'd be great in a
Depends on
small
the show.
You'd be great in a small environment. I reckon the power, you'd be pinned against the wall from you guys in a small club.
Yeah, but we also still like to play sometimes some smaller clubs again, because that vibe that you get in smaller clubs that you sometimes don't find in the bigger
Yeah.
places. And that's the nice thing, to have the variation also with shows. Sometimes a festival, sometimes a club show, sometimes an intimate club show.
Hmm.
That's the fun of it, to have always that variation.
Yeah, because you're different energies. You're getting different
Yeah,
energies back
yeah.
in different ways. And you know, you don't eat the same meal every day. You want different energies.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And I like it when the crowd is as close as possible to the stage. And
I
you
love it.
often find that in the smaller venues. So often that these are actually my favorite shows.
Yeah, I love it. That's my favorite place to be, right on the front, leaning against the rail,
Yeah.
dead center. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you have to have that energy exchange with band and crowd, and that you find best when the crowd is not too far away from the
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah, and I think
Preferably without barrier, right on the stage.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, thanks for coming on and chatting. It's a brilliant album. All of you, thank you very much for making such a great album. All of you,
Thank you so
everyone that's
much. I will tell them. I will
please
tell them
do. Everyone
about
that
your enthusiasm.
contributed was just fantastic. And again, banging opener, fantastic finisher, and wonderful in between. You must listen to it beginning to end. That's it. That's my
I
thing.
agree.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully we'll see you in Australia sometime soon.
Yeah, there's some plans that we are exploring, so hopefully we can make it happen.
Yeah, it's a long way, but we'd love to see you.
Yeah, I know it's a long way, but once you're there, it's all worth it. But yeah,
Oh,
that flight of 20 hours, that's always a pain in the ass.
of
Yeah.
course it is. Yes, I do it regularly.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, anyway, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Well, man,
You enjoy your evening, and
I will do. Bye
hope
now.
to see you then in Australia.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Cheers.
Bye for now, man.
Bye bye.